All right, we got some shoes to attempt to put on. The shoe, the foot, the swelling has gone down. It's looking less diseased. It still hurts though. So we're going out for a limp. Hopefully 2, maybe 3 miles. However long it takes. I gotta be careful what shoes to pick. I think the newer shoes that I was given from a friend. Hey, Sean. How are you, my friend? I apologize if I keep mispronouncing your name wrong. They seem to be aggravating the foot. So we're going back to the pure minimalistic flux. But these are tight-fitting shoes, so I need to expand it a little bit in order not to cause any more damage. Hey, Anthony. And we're going to bring up A Course in Miracles. Today, we're going to wait. Oh, there's Anna. Hey, Anna. I always say, we're going to wait for Anna, and then Anna pops in. So, Anna, what lesson are we on today? Hey, Lee. We're on review, by the way. We're on lesson 53. We're reviewing. If you've been hanging with us, awesome. Hold on, guys. Shoe number 1. That's the easy shoe. That's the one without the damaged foot. Although, that foot is damaged too. But only the toe. Only the big toe on the left foot. And not even the whole toe. For whatever reason, when I shattered the whole thing, hey, Allie, I'm doing okay. I hurt a little bit, but we get by. Once they get the shoe on, we'll start. 53. Kat says, ugh. I agree, Kat. Ugh for sure. That's the mantra. That's the mantra for this morning is ugh. Review of lesson 11 to 15. Yep. I love the reviews. You've earned your reviews. You know what I mean? You've gone through 50 lessons, so now we do a review. I'm almost there. I'm doing my best to get as much room and flexibility going on in this shoe as possible. That's what I'm doing right now. I can do it. You can do it. I can limp 3 miles, right? I've done it before. You should have seen me come over the finish line on some races. It was not ultra running. It's a fun sport, but it's all about suffering. Ultra running is Buddhism in a nutshell. I'll be back. Almost there. I might have to wait. I might have to put this shoe on like right when I go. But we'll see. We're going to give it the old college effort. In my case, the old community college effort. All right. Thank God for watches. They're so easy to put on. You guys ready? Lesson 50C, lesson 53. Today we will review the following. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Since the thoughts of which I am aware do not mean anything, the world that pictures them can have no meaning. What is producing this world is insane, and so what it produces. And so is what it produces. Reality is not insane, and I have real thoughts as well as the insane ones. I can therefore see a real world if I look to my real thoughts as my guide for seeing. I am upset because I see a meaningless world. Insane thoughts are upsetting. They produce a world in which there is no order in anything. Only chaos rules a world that represents chaotic thinking, and chaos has no laws. It cannot live in peace in such a world. I am grateful that this world is not real and that I need not see it at all unless I choose to value it. And I do not choose to value what is totally insane and has no meaning. A meaningless world engenders fear. The totally insane engenders fear because it is completely undependable and offers no ground for trust. Nothing in madness is dependable. It holds out no safety and no hope, but such a world is not real. I have given it the illusion of reality and have suffered from my belief in it. Now I choose to withdraw this belief and place my trust in reality. In choosing this, I will escape all the effects of the world of fear because I am acknowledging that it does not exist. God did not create a meaningless world. How can a meaningless world exist if God did not create it? He is the source of all meaning, and everything that is real is in his mind. It is in my mind too because he created it with me. Why should I continue to suffer from the effects of my own insane thoughts when the perfection of creation is my home? Let me remember the power of my decision and recognize where I really abide. My thoughts are images that I have made. Whenever I see my thoughts, whatever I see reflects my thoughts. It is my thoughts that tell me where I am and what I am. The fact that I see a world in which there is suffering and loss and death shows me that I am seeing only what the representation of my insane thoughts, and I am not allowing my real thoughts to cast their beneficent light on what I see. Beneficent. I got it. Yet God's way is sure. The images I have made cannot prevail against him because it is not my will that they do so. My will is his, and I will place no other God before him. Those are the 5. 1. This is lesson 11. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. 2. Lesson 12. I am upset because I see a meaningless world. Lesson 13. A meaningless world engenders fear. Lesson 14. God did not create a meaningless world. Lesson 15. My thoughts are images that I have made. Questions. We're not going to do the breath work with these. We're just going to cover and then answer some questions. Talk about it. There's great relief here. Doesn't sound like it. Wow, my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. I'm having meaningless thoughts and the world is meaningless. That doesn't sound like good news, right? Especially when we say that I'm upset. Every one of my upsets is because I see a meaningless world. As we say in the business, well, that's a fine howdy-do. And that a meaningless world is keeping me trapped in fear. It engenders fear. But God did not create a meaningless world. This is an important thing to keep in mind. I will dive in the chat. 1 second, guys. That God did not create a meaningless world. So how can I be in a meaningless world and yet God didn't create it? This lets God completely off the hook, by the way. But it puts the responsibility on you. Because guess what? You have created a meaningless world because you are thinking meaningless thoughts. A meaningless thought is always the I, me, mine, which are the thoughts of the ego. What's in it for me beyond how can I serve? How can I be helpful? Am I grateful for what I have? Now, we don't punish ourselves for these thoughts. We just recognize these are not real thoughts. These are thoughts of the ego. The ego doesn't exist. That's why we don't fight it. That's why we don't try to eliminate it. That's why we don't do anything. Smile at it. Remember, the ego came in creation because it was a tiny mad idea in the mind of God in which we reside right now, and we remember not to laugh, which basically is a poetic way of saying we didn't laugh at the absurdity that we could be separate from the source itself, separate from each other, separate from the real world, separate from the mind of God. How can a thought be separate from the mind that thinks it? And we are thoughts in the mind of God. So we just choose our real thoughts. That's it. There it is, man. The secret of secrets. It's not about manifesting. It is about remembering who we are. All right, let's dive in here. Hey, Wessa. Cat says hi to Mustafa. Hey, David. David says, any improvement on the foot? Yes, the swelling is down, but it's still sore. Thank you, David. David, I really appreciate that. The swelling's down. It's really sore. Am I a debater? Nope. It's still a little puffy. My foot. Kat says, Yogi, you know, it's okay if you don't walk this morning. I don't know if it would be. You know what they say, a body in motion stays in motion? Hey, Jan. Hey, I appreciate the like. Thank you so much. I thought about it, Kat. Man, it would have been nice to stay in bed for an extra half hour and just get up and meditate and do some yoga. Yoga actually, not all of it hurts, but the sun salutation, which is the basis of my practice, really hurts. Hey, Mir, my friend, how are you? It's wet. It's cold outside. It's going to turn to snow later in the day. I thought this stuff was over. Lee says, and what's the kindest approach to someone who is consumed in these thoughts and cannot break free? Everyone can break free because they don't really exist. The kindest approach is always kindness. The kindest approach is kindness. Ask, what's the kindest thing I can do right now? Sometimes the kindest thing you can do right now is to remove yourself from a situation. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do right now is to say, man, I'm at a loss. Right now, I don't know exactly what to do. So I'm going to sit. I'm going to be patient. I'm not going to do anything until I'm given a prompt, until my heart tells me. My heart is always, my truest heart, is always connected to the voice of God, the voice for God. So I'm going to sit. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to do any action until I know for sure what is the kindest thing I can do. Maybe the kindest thing to do is to hold someone's hand, to put your arms around them, or maybe it's to give them space. We never know what it is. I don't know the kindest thing in any situation until I am told what is the kindest thing. And guess what? I can always be told again. I can always say, I don't know. I don't know what to do. So, man, I make mistakes every minute, every possible minute. But at this point, I'm willing to sit and wait and be told. Most of the time. You've seen, in live streams, I try my best to always do the kindest thing. Sometimes what is the kindest thing in that moment, later it shows me that maybe I should do this instead. I was thinking about that from a couple months ago, just this morning, what I was doing on my channel. and what I'm doing now. And the difference is really night and day, right? My channel has moved fully into teaching what we're calling the yoga of true forgiveness, which is, of course, miracles, which is yoga. Yoga means to join, to yoke. What's this says? Well, you just sound really bitter, Yogi, about the weather. Yeah, I am. I am. Angrily shaking my fist at all the clouds. I'm glad that you're good, Mir. And you know what? How all of this started? Because there was a little bit of resentment, some grievances. That, man, I thought my channel was chugging along nicely, that I was able to show up 3 times a day and teach some breath work and do some meditation, talk about the things that I love to talk about. We talked about diet, exercise, forgiveness. I talked about A Course in Miracles. And then something happened. Someone showed up and it threw everything in flux. Everything. One person randomly appearing. Some people liked him, some people didn't like him. Some people left, some people stayed. Some people left and came back and left again. And then there was other instances with other people. They didn't like what was going on or whatever. And for me, this felt very hurtful at the time. And I had to work on actively forgiving. Not people, but the situation in which I created. Had not that stuff happened, I would not be doing what I'm doing. I would not have had these wonderful guests. I wouldn't be making videos that I'm putting out, that I'm gifting to the algorithms, whatever they might do. Is it algorithms or is it an algorithm? Help me out here. Should I be singularly focused on a single algorithm, or am I throwing it out there to the algorithms? I bet you Weston knows the answer to this. Hey, Anthony. Anthony says, how long have you been doing this for? All right. I've had a channel for over 3 years, maybe even close to 4. I had a channel before. I didn't really do anything. It was just so I could watch people do stuff. And then I was supporting a bunch of people in the burpee community. Before it was a really large community. There was a core group of people showing up every day doing burpees. I was doing it with them, but I was just supporting them. And a good friend, Paul from Oregon, said, as well as Burpee Reaper, hey, why don't you put out a video? We'd love to support you the way you've supported us. So I thought I'd do one. And I did the video, me doing burpees, and then I sat down and I talked about yoga and breath work and forgiveness. How forgiveness plays a role in my fitness. I forgive the body that I imagined that I had, right? Meaning I forgive the body that I had yesterday, because you show up with the body that you have today. The aches, the pains, the soreness, the whatever, versus the body that you would like to have. The one that wasn't hurt, the one that's not sore, the one that was 40 years old instead of being 60 years old. And everyone said, man, we love the burpees, but can you talk some more about that weird stuff? My friend Paul said, said he's like that weird uncle or older brother, much older brother, who knows some weird stuff. He used the word weird an awful lot when he was talking about me. And then it's just evolved. It evolved here. My ex-wife, who was then my present partner, who's now my ex-partner, suggested that, hey, you're looking for a way. You're not going back into starting your old business back up. This was after my dad died. She was like, you're looking for a way to coast into, when you're 62, you can get early Social Security. You need to save whatever savings you have left. Maybe YouTube, you can do this. And that's how I started doing this. That was a little over 2 years ago. Actually, yeah, a little over two. I'm coming up and being monetized for 2 years. Um, so this is it. This is my, um, this is what I do to earn my keep in the world, keep a roof over my head. But as far as bringing up guests and the what I'm doing like right now, I think I started doing this in September ish. So 4 or 5 months. I'm glad you, Anthony, how did you find us, by the way? I'm always curious how anyone found me or finds anyone. Hey, Daniel, happy Sunday to you, my friend. Like, I know I met Anna through the burpee community. She was counting reps for people. She still counts reps for people. Mir was a gift. Mir just appeared out of nowhere and instantly became a good friend. Mir remembers me in the burpee days. And I met Kat because God said, you know what? You need this person in your life. I met Kat because God smiled on me. And Lee, I met Lee through the fitness community. I believe Lee and I met through our friend Jace. Wassa. How did I meet you, Wassa? Ellie was another person who came from the algorithm, I believe. No, maybe Ellie. I think I met you over at Mark and Joe's. Mark would always be so kind as to give me a good word, and some of his friends came over and started hanging out with me. So what's this said? Well, there would be an ultimate algorithm, yes, but it would require many lesser as well to exert some significant control. Why does that sound like the Hindu cosmology affair? We have Brahma, and then we have the what we could say are the lesser forms of Brahma. Thank you, Kat. Anna did a great workout. She went out for a walk. I don't have much of a workout today. I might just go out after my walk. I'll go out for another walk, but I'll use my heavy hands. Melissa says, I just stumbled onto the live stream one day. You were talking about metaphysics. Well, hey, Melissa, you've been a gift to me as well. Andy says, what workout did you do? I said, interesting. This is my impersonation of Melissa right now. Interesting comparison. How did I do, Melissa? Did I nail it? Was that like the perfect, what do you guys think? Was that the perfect Melissa impersonation? You guys are probably thinking, wow, for a second there, I thought that was Wessa. Wessa says, oh, good. Thank you. I nailed it. Well, I've been studying the little nuances of Wessa. And it says she found a great bar workout. Well, on YouTube, 40 minutes. And I add 100 burpees. I do that twice every day. Wow, twice every day. It's amazing, Anna. All right, guys. A few minutes, we'll head out. Any questions about the review? Any questions about A Course in Miracles? Any questions about how tall I am? Any questions about my IQ? Any questions about how I lost my hair? Any questions on why one ear actually sits up a little higher than the other? questions? Not saying I have any answers. These are all questions I've asked myself at one time or another. Anthony says, it isn't even a morning without Cat and Jack, then a dose of Yogi. Perfect way to get things going. And that's wonderful, Anna. Keep up the great work. Your body is thanking you for it, says Anthony. I'm sorry, I think I said Wesley. Well, thank you, Anthony. I'm happy to be in the same company as Cat and Jack. Wesley says, I almost didn't make it because Cat kind of wore me out. Yeah, she does that. Cat wears down any resistance to the ultimate nature of love. Eventually, you spend enough time with Cat, and you have a permanent smile on your face. You get a smile on your heart, and it naturally and easily spreads to your face. Hey, Bella Boot Kitty, that is a pretty awesome username, by the way. Bella Boot Kitty. Right? Did I get that right? Bella Boot Kitty? Once it says, I'm playing, the time in her stream flew by. It was fun. Cat's always fun. You're welcome, Bella Boo. Boy, I'm not going to get tired of saying that. Ever. I hope you keep showing up so I can keep saying that. That might be my new mantra. Finally, I'm going to be enlightened. Let me read what I wrote this morning. It's about being largely unnoticed. And so the most meaningful and important thing I do is largely unnoticed by others. It's an action quietly undertaken through the course of each day without anyone knowing what's actually going on. Practicing true forgiveness is now the undercurrent of my life. No fanfare or announcement, just an everyday affair between me and the world. It's an active meditation, an immediate awakening that brings me great comfort and relief. What's being forgiven here is the world itself, an entire belief system that keeps us caught within a dream. Forgiveness isn't an escape. It's simply choosing to remember that this is all my own creation. A mishap that never really occurred, but is still playing out through my mind. So I'm really practicing self-forgiveness, in whatever form it may appear. I'm remembering and slowly waking up from the dreaming of the world. That, my friends, is the nature of true forgiveness. And what I hoped had been a lyrical prose explanation, but maybe it's just gibberish. Anthony says, how could I forget about Big Deborah and his only competition? Guy says, Anthony, Deborah says she's your competition for Anna. Uh-oh. Because, Debbie likes girls. All right, guys, I need to get ready for my walk in just a minute, and then I'm going to, what seems to be helping my foot is soaking it in very, very hot water, a little bit of Epsom salt, and some tea tree oil. Seems to be taking the swelling and the puffiness out of it. Maybe one more day of doing that, and I am as normal as I ever get, which, save your comments. I know what you're thinking. And it says, doing workouts makes me so happy, Yoga, and I love feeling the pain after. Me too. that's why I'm going to walk. Hey, Sab. Sab, how are you? Watching, listening, and lurking. I appreciate all three. What's this? Says nasty feet or what? So feet that's just they've taken a lifetime of beating. Broken toes, broken toenails, dislocated stuff, things that never completely healed. My problem wasn't so much the things that I did, but the continuous doing of the things that I did. Um, when I could have maybe put my feet up. But, I'll tell you the truth. I have experienced low level depression for much of my life. Um, one of the ways of coping is motion, being outside, being in nature, keep moving. I always tell the story that my dad came out of the hospital, I think 91, maybe 90, um, from pneumonia, really bad pneumonia. Um, they couldn't drain the lung. They eventually had to put a drainage tube, and Milk and I had every day, twice a day, I believe, uh, take it out and drain it and put it back in, make sure everything was clean so there'd be no infection. I had a hard time doing that. I always felt my hands wouldn't be steady enough to do that delicate work that would keep my dad safe. And Mocha knew that. She showed up twice a day. Doing a thing for an ex-wife to do, showing up twice a day to help me tend for my father. One day, just the tube was out. He was just recovering. He was maybe, I think, 2 days out from being in the hospital with pneumonia. And he came into my little office here, said that he was having some pain in his side. And I said, do you think you need to go to the emergency room? And he said, no, I got a doctor's appointment in a week or two, and I'll bring it up. And I said, well, you know what? I'd rather you not be in pain. He could bear pain, but I'd rather he didn't have to at any age, let alone at that age. So let's go to the emergency room. So I took him. He agreed, and I took him. And when he got there, his gallbladder burst, septic. The doctor said he probably will not survive in a weakened state. They said that even a regular 91-year-old might not survive that, let alone someone who just came out of the hospital with pneumonia. But my dad did pull through. Had a couple more strong years after that. But I think maybe 1-2 days, Mocha went to visit him in the hospital, and he was out of the hospital bed with a walker, and he was doing laps back and forth in the hospital room, just walking, turning around, walking. And Mocha walked in, and she said, should you be doing that? And he said, you got to stay in motion. Now, that doesn't mean always ignoring things, right? I meditate twice a day, every day. Have not missed a session in decades. It's the foundation of my life. Meditation is sitting in stillness. But you can be in motion and have a very quiet mind at the same time. And motion helps me quiet the mind from those thoughts that lead me astray, that lead me down that road into a deeper depression. So, yeah, I take a page out of my dad's book. Different reasons, but it works for me. I feel better, even when I don't. That makes sense. So my foot might not thank me for getting out there and walking 2 or 3 miles this morning in the wet. But my mood will. Now I got other things I could do. I could sit and meditate again. I can do some breath work. I can do another round of yoga. I could even do a workout body weight workout that doesn't involve um, any pressure on my foot, wouldn't quite be the same. There's something about, these hours are called Brahma Muhurta in yogic terms, in Sanskrit. And that means the hours of God. There's something about being outside before dawn, catching that light before it's light to the eyes. Hearing the very first bird song of the dawn chorus, literally singing me back into existence. There's something about that. I'll wake up, I'll go for a crawl. I'll take 6 steps and sit, but I will get outside. Hey, Alamo City. How are you, my friend? Hey, San. Sian? Bye, Anthony. All right. So, yeah. That's where I am in life. For better or for worse. Okay, I got some things to do. Melissa says, reminds me of relearning to walk after my coma and surgeries. And the cytokine storm? Cytokine storm. I did it in record time. No doubt, Melissa. You seem to be a very determined individual in the best possible way. I think we all gather here together, unbeknownst to the deeper reason, which is I think we're all helping each other heal in many ways. Bella Boo Kitty says, nice listening to you. Thank you for being here, Bella Boo. All right, guys, let me head out. We usually go, man, I was going for over an hour in my morning sessions. They're going to be a bit shorter now that the sun's coming up earlier. That's going to change just a couple weeks because of the unfortunate effects of daylight savings time. In spring, we lose an hour. It means it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter in the evening. The sun goes down whenever the sun goes down. But there's early morning sessions in the sun coming up. It's my favorite time of the year, that when it gets lighter earlier. All right. I love you guys. Thanks for coming by, hanging out. We don't have any guests until tomorrow at 5:25. So we'll just hang out. We'll have some fun together. Take care.